Hey man, how's it going?
Not too bad. Been a not too bad week. Although I will say weather-wise, it's like, hey, here's a okay day for spring to here's plus 15. Oh, minus 15. And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's a 30-degree difference there, Mother
What
Nature. What's
what
going
did
on?
you mention last time? What was it? The false spring?
Fall spring, yeah.
False
I
spring,
saw
right?
it on a YouTube
On a YouTube
guys
thing.
trying
Yeah.
to explain it,
You
like
sent
just
it to
like
me.
to
It's
your
pretty
wife,
funny.
like,
Yeah.
oh, no, this isn't actual spring. This is
Yeah.
fall spring. It
Yeah.
happens to be spring, but tomorrow could also be winter.
And it won't be spring until summer hits. I thought that was the best part.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it won't be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's pretty funny. But yeah, welcome back everybody to Bite My Shiny Metal Cast, the show where we discuss all things Futurama. And our, as promised, a new special guest star today. Well, an older
not
special guest
new,
star, but not
returning.
Andrew. Tristan, welcome back. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're doing well. Thank you. Yeah, just wanted to. I'll throw out a few questions to you, just like I did for Andrew in the last one, just because. So the films are unique in the sense of like they're like one large episode, right? And we've
Even
all
though
come,
they split them into four parts
even though they've
on
split them into four
everywhere
parts and they
else.
kind of have like little mini arcs, kind of. But we do have like a hierarchy. Mitchell and I have discussed this, where we have like which one is typically like considered the best versus like the worst. Even if you like all the movies, you could admit that there's like we know that this one's probably structurally sound. So when I had asked you if you wanted to appear or participate in this movie or in any of the movies, you specifically stated you wanted to do this one. So I just wanted to ask, what is it about this one that kind of made you want to do that in your own words?
This one, so I don't tend to go back and rewatch stuff very often.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm not sure if I've ever rewatched these since like we would have watched them when they first came out.
Yeah,
Wow.
And for whatever reason, this one just sticks in my memory much better than the other ones. I kind of
Hmm.
couldn't really tell you what happened in the other movies at the moment. I did listen to part of your discussion with Andrew, but I didn't watch Bender's big
Game
score.
or big score rather. Yeah. You
that
didn't
is
you
too
But
didn't
much.
you didn't listen to part one and then listen to part two, Tristan.
You're like
I'm
tenth
I'm
of our
about three
viewers.
quarters of the way. I'm about three quarters of the way through your guys' discussion
Sure.
of the second part.
Oh,
I'm most of the way through.
fair enough.
All right,
But
I'll make sure to shout you out every time. Just hi, Tristan. Hope you got
Yeah.
here.
Wake up.
I really would
Go.
appreciate
Okay.
that.
Okay. So
I
yeah.
remembered some of that movie upon listening to you guys discuss it, but I couldn't remember just from the title what happened in that one. But for some
Right.
reason,
Time travel.
Yeah. It's
Beast
basically
with a
time travel.
Billion Backs,
Yeah.
I could remember that one clearly.
Okay.
I have a couple of hypotheses as to why, but
I have a pretty
Uh,
knowing you for as long as I've known you, I have a pretty strong idea as to why you would
oh,
have
me
remembered
too.
this one
Yeah.
over the other three. But we'll get in. I want to
now
get
I'm
into that.
curious.
I want to have yeah. Well, I want to have conversation with it because this is exactly
Okay.
why we wanted you on for this portion. So in the part two of the Beast with a Billion Backs, the idea is to discuss like the themes, the ideas, our favorite jokes. Because Mitchell and I both agreed, and we discussed this a little bit in our synopsis for the Beast with a Billion Backs. Although this one, Mitchell and I differ on in what order they are typically the best written. Beast with a Billion Backs, we both agree, probably has the best jokes, and the reason for
Yeah.
that is just because some of them are so out of the stadium, like they're just so weird. But then some of them just kind of fit right inside, like that little spot. You're like, huh, that was clever. That was really really good. And not to say the other movies don't have those, but this one has just more of them, and you kind of have to pay attention to get the references of said jokes when they happen.
I even
So
missed like the title of the movie. I
right,
missed
so
that.
like the original, like the absolute main joke at the beginning, right? Is Beast with a Billion Backs is a joke on the idea of the beast with two backs, right? Which is just a euphemism for having sex.
Yeah,
I
So
think
it
it's a
if you didn't
literally
know that,
Shakespearean euphemism.
was that
I think it's a Shakespearean euphemism.
sure? I bet it is too.
would thou like to make it the beast of two backs?
Something like that, yes. And then of course Beast with a Billion Backs because it has billions, if not trillions, of arms to mate with all these people, all these creatures in the universe, right? So yeah, let's discuss this a little bit. So I think the main arc of this is kind of the idea of loneliness versus being with someone and needing to be with someone, and what does that mean, right? Of course, being like taking that from what the whole episode is, it's hard to say. But anyways,
I saw a phrase
yeah.
like seeing a man drown while you're dying of thirst kind of thing. It's like it's just like seeing a woman throw themselves at this guy. You're just like, but I'm
Well,
lonely.
it's like a guy who's like super, let's say super handsome, but can't perform. So everybody wants to be with this person, but he can't do anything. Versus the guy who wants somebody to be with and strikes out every time. That's basically what
Okay, yeah, sure.
that analogy. But yeah, Tristan, why don't we start with you then? So when it comes to Evo, when it comes to Colleen, when it comes to all these things, what do you think of the themes of this particular film, being that of loneliness versus being with someone? What do you think this is supposed to be saying?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's saying a bunch of different things. It's also trying to take what is quite a modern tone, and it's like brings up this whole consensual non-monogamy with what's her name, Colleen?
Colleen, yeah, played by Brittany Murphy. Yeah.
And like considering when this came out, that was like quite ahead of its time to portray that in a even moderately acceptable manner. Like
would you like a delicious slice of cake, Tristan?
But I guess it's also, isn't it also interesting as well that she's with so many, like they're not all the same type of person, right? Like she doesn't have a type per se, right? Like that's
no,
kind of
she does.
No,
Persons who want to be in a relationship with her, well, also she's in a relationship with other men.
I mean, that would have to be the only criteria for their type, I suppose. They're also okay with this.
Yeah,
but
that would be pretty much it.
Yeah. But
sorry, I to make a joke about like different flavors of men or something. Maybe it was implied.
Yeah, let's bring race into this. Notice how she was only with one black guy.
They all joke about it at the table. There's one Asian guy, one black guy, a jock, a Jewish nerd character, I guess, and then Fry, who's just a dumbass, right? So
James Dean, yeah.
So it's one of those things. But then she also has a date during that time as well. So she was going out with yet another person who we never saw. Well, yeah, that's when she was leaving, right? So those guys are all sitting at the table, and Fry's trying to make a toast, and she's like, "Oh, but I can't stay. I've got another date." And that's when Fry says, "Okay, I'm done. I've had enough with you." And that's when he storms out, right? So yeah, she was even in that process. But then let's look at the opposite. Let's look at Leela, right? So if you don't recall, Tristan, and for anybody who was listening who didn't watch the Bender's Big Score, but Leela was in a committed relationship throughout the majority of that movie.
With Lars.
In this one, yes, with Lars. And in this one, she's like, I'm not sure purposefully or just like not, like there's just no real romantic connection to anybody throughout their whole film. Like
not even Zapp Brannigan.
Like he hits on her, right, as he always does. And at the very end, we have Fry saying like, "Oh, maybe I can try again with you, Leela." And then Leela like yells at him for like, not caring about her the whole time when he's with Colleen, right? So she was completely absent of that. And on top of that, she never even got what Mitchell had coined last time was like, she never got Evo's love. Like she never got assimilated with the little genticle, right? So yeah, I guess this is kind of an interesting thing. So yeah,
I think she did it at the thing right before Evo unveiled himself and Leela ruined it all.
No, she had the garden hose, so she never.
Oh, sorry. It says on the Futurama wiki for Evo, it says he had sex with every living being in the Gamma universe except Leela.
Except Leela. There you go. Yeah, she avoided it the entire time, and that's why they're all happy, right? Because they're like, "Oh, wow, we love the tentacle, like all the dopamine and all the endorphins, right?" So it is kind of funny. And then obviously with the alien itself, with Evo itself, yeah. But we also have, of course, the love of like a monogamous relationship, which is with Amy and Kif, right? To also juxtapose those two sides of it, right? Polygamy with Colleen, like no relationship with with Leela, but then these two, and then of course Kif, quote unquote dies, and we have Amy and being sad for Kif the whole time, but then Zap being able to take advantage of her, right? So yeah, I'm curious then. Do you think, Mitchell? Do you think there was like intent for having all of these different relationships? Was this like the main idea for this movie, or do you think it was still kind of
God, no.
What do you think it was? Was it just the story?
Just from how like you can kind of see it's written, right? It's just kind of let's get our A game jokes on and let's try and stitch them together. That's how I kind of viewed it, and then it just kind of became okay. Let's do the story parts afterwards, and maybe that's like, well, everyone's leaving Yivo. Wouldn't it be funny for someone to stay behind? Yeah. Colleen. Oh my God, Colleen. And I think that's how it happened. Like, maybe they thought of it ahead of time, but like, I don't think for that reason, but just kind of rub it in Fry's face some more because that's just kind of funny kind of thing. Sure. Like the billion universe person broke up because of Fry. Oh, and your ex is actually going to stay with the person. Kind of thing, right?
Actually,
so
okay. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
I think that's more of the joke than it is like, Colleen's in a polyamorous relationship and Yivo was in a relationship with trillions of people. Let's make them understand each other. I don't think it was that deep. I think it was just Fry's alone. Oh wait, yeah, that's right. Your ex is now with your ex. How's that feel?
Which is also a joke in itself, right? That's yet another relationship type of thing, right? Well, and I'm glad you actually brought this up, Mitchell, because you and I kind of touched upon this when I was doing the synopsis before. Tristan, would you say it would be a red flag for somebody in a relationship to say, like, once you're with me, you're not allowed to communicate with anybody ever again in like another country or in another place? And as soon as you send a letter.
But not only is it a red flag, but it's like a fairly common, at least historical thing where more controlling men would be, I don't want you talking to other men anymore, to their wives. I think it still happens to some degree.
I'm sure there are a lot of people who do that. I wouldn't even put it past women to do that too. I've seen,
and yes, I should say, I think it more stereotypically happens with men, but it definitely happens the other way around as well.
Sure. Well,
in a different way.
Yeah, I mean,
the same result.
Stereotypically, you might get like, the men say, okay, you're not allowed to talk to other men. I don't feel comfortable with that because for one reason or another, controlling. But then you have women who are like, everywhere you go, I need to go with you. I need to be there with you, right? And it's like, that's another form of control. So I think I've
started you with a tracking tag.
Right. So yeah, I okay, so you would agree. Total red flag. As soon as I remember watching that again, I'm like, okay.
Huh. The biggest of bad red flags.
Hold on, let me see. Hey, wife, you're not allowed to talk to anyone else ever. Okay, yeah. What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Okay, that was a bad idea. Yeah, that is bad. That's a red flag. Yeah.
So, but yeah, okay. So let's go into a little bit of the main overarching thing as well when it comes to Evo. So this is why I think, Tristan, that you remember this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think this one is one of those things because back in the day, and still to now to an extent as well, you and I are not religious. Mitchell's like a religious, whatever you want to like.
I like to call myself a Christian agnostic.
Sure, he's like on the side of it. He's open minded about all this kind of stuff. I'm like, whatever. I don't really care much. Back in the day, I think you've mellowed out a little bit since being who you are today, and I get that. You weren't. To put it bluntly, you weren't so mellow. So I think there are elements of it that would have made you have remembered this movie a little bit more because of the imagery that it talked about in it. That's all.
Like the heaven imagery?
The heaven imagery, and also like just the poking fun at everything, right? Because I think he says like back in the day, your religious leaders,
painters or whatever,
saw like images of me and like these clouds, and then these are my like Jacobees or whatever they're called, and they look like angels and all this stuff. So we painted everything, and that's where this comes from, right? Essentially disproving Christianity. Not that Futurama didn't do so before, because they have their god, which is like a space nebula thing, right? Which is where the time bubble comes from. And
no, that's the written version that only we and Bender know. They have the space pope is reptilian.
But he's the pope, not God. Right.
Yeah, I know he's the Pope. Yeah, but what was, I can't remember the religion, but like it's literally all of them in one.
Yeah.
It's
He's like
yeah,
no gods or
atheism,
fewer, right?
monotheism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all gods
here
or
we are
fewer, right?
before
Yeah,
one God or more or
or
fewer.
fewer, right? Yeah.
I love that. I love that line.
Yeah, I can't remember. His name is like a combination of all these different religious types of names as well. But in any case, that's why I thought maybe you'd remember that. However, that was on me. Why do you think you had remembered this movie so much better?
I think you have to be right in part, like that.
Mm.
Yeah, it definitely appealed to me just rewatching it. I was like, oh yeah, that was clever.
That's
To
funny.
come up
Yeah.
with an explanation for that.
Mhm.
Oh, I thought it
I
had
don't
something to do with
know.
the flying spaghetti monster kind of
Oh,
similarity. It's just
fair
with the
enough. No, I
tentacles and
totally forgot
everything.
about that. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah,
another thing about it too. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
yeah.
because
like,
I know you love that for the time being. Didn't you
that was
get
a meme. Yeah.
a card decal, or did I imagine that for the flying spaghetti monster, like the Jesus fish,
I know they
or you
sell them.
wanted
I don't
to?
think I ever got one.
But they did
So
exist. Yeah.
I think in part that sort of clever religion explanation. I think I also I think for some reason my memory of this episode it was much more sleazy than
Mm.
it ended up being. Like I don't know if it's gone through like
Mattress Island sleazy.
yeah, I remember the Mattress Island
So
scene
actually,
being
okay, so
even a little bit more
yeah,
sleazy than it is, but I don't know,
we're
just like
also
a
adults.
combination of like a bit more adult,
Mhm.
and a few of the other factors such as the religion
You,
thing.
Actually, you know
okay,
what?
you know what?
Go
I
ahead.
think. Well, I can't remember how we watched these. I think this was the time when Blockbuster was a thing.
Mhm.
So I think we went and got the DVD or whatever from Blockbuster, and we
Somebody
looked at the
owned it.
special
Yeah.
features.
Mhm.
And maybe there was a couple more deleted scenes or whatever that they had there that they took out. Maybe there was more there.
Mhm.
Being a Futurama lover, I should know this if there's deleted scenes. I'm like, yeah, that should have been in the movie, and we could have talked about them. But I wouldn't have seen it since 2008 or 9, whenever this came out. So
Right. Yeah, it's not like they
been a
put
hot
deleted
minute.
scenes into the streaming ones or to the ones that they put on
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Netflix or whatever at the
As
time, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Hard
as
to say.
streaming sites have known to edit their stuff
Mhm.
for idiots and stuff like for whatever stupid reason they're doing it.
Yeah. No, actually, you know what? Now that Tristan says that, it's a little bit more sleazy and a little bit more adult with all that stuff. I think this one, especially for all of us, because we were more or less teenagers, you know, coming into our own at the time of this movie, there is a lot more talking about some mature themes that maybe would have affected more of our minds at the time, right? It's a little bit easier to say that. And we
We
also
were
see
hornier back then, is what you're saying?
blunt as ever, Mitchell. But that would have been a reason to do so, because there are elements in this film that I remember a lot, like a lot clearer than I would remember other ones for sure. And a lot of the times, I attested to the jokes because a lot of them are connected to some kind of joke for it, right? Like the genticle thing, and would you like a slice of delicious cake, and all this
Oh,
kind of stuff.
favorite joke.
Like those are all related around a sexual thing. So maybe you're onto something. That could easily be why it is. But I've
Tristan's
also
a
seen these
very
movies.
sexual creature, isn't he? He remembers these things more than us.
Any case, I would say there are a lot of reasons for it, but yeah, I think that
It's the
might be the
funniest
case.
one.
Yeah,
And
there
like,
are a lot of funny
because you don't remember the other ones, like you said, like you didn't watch them, the other ones in the last while. Do you remember this one being the funnier out of the four, just by chance?
things. Mhm.
I think so. Now that I semi remember Bender's Big Score, I think that one had like a better story, like a much better, more. Of course, it was also a more complicated story with.
It had to be
time
tight.
travel.
That one had to be very tight because
Yeah,
time
whenever you're
travel
working with
can
time
have
travel,
so many
yeah,
holes. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
will say as well, it's nice that throughout the series of these films, they do hit upon, like, Futurama's always been a sci-fi show, but they kind of touch upon different types of sci-fi for all of the different movies, and then even touching a little bit of that fantasy, like alternate reality thing for the third one. So I think it's kind of cool that they have something like that, right? Um, yeah, time travel for the first one. This one is dealing with alternate universes and space
Dimension, whatever you want
exploration
to call it.
and what's that?
Yeah.
Interdimensional
In
travel.
other dimension, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Third one, like I mentioned,
Fantasy.
the fantasy slash like alternate reality stuff, parallel universes,
Also.
versus like the last one, which I guess is more so with trying to remember
Biology.
biology. Yeah, well, mutations, biology, like destiny, all this kind of stuff, some other kinds of
Ah,
sci-fi aspects, right?
yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting aspect that I think that was good that they really touched upon. But let's talk more the humor for it. So this one definitely has this. So Tristan, or I'll start with Mitchell. Mitchell, your go-to joke that you were kind of talking, like you wanted to like really talk about and
I
get
mentioned
into.
last time, yeah.
Yeah,
The
the
last
cake
time
one.
was like with Zoidberg saying like, I remember when Fry told me how I met Colleen the other day, and it goes to like this beautiful sunset going down over the park, and then it just boom right to Zoidberg. So how'd you meet Colleen
Yeah.
on to Fry on a bench? And I love that. I don't know what it was like 2008. Mitchell just found that hilarious, and I just thought that was because I thought it was gonna be like, oh, it was gonna be a meet cute kind of thing,
Yeah.
and how Fry
It
met
takes
her.
you.
No, it's just Zoidberg
Yeah.
being there. So
It
how'd you meet?
subverts the
How'd you meet Colleen?
expectations, so to
Yeah,
speak, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that type of subvert expectations.
Me
Yes,
too. Yeah.
but yeah, I had a very much more funny bone back then. Now I'm just sad, but I still love Futurama, so that's why I watch it to feel that little glimmer of hope and happiness.
It's a
And
nostalgia.
then the cake one.
Nostalgia at this point, isn't it? How about you, Tristan? Was
No,
there
it's
a
for yeah.
is there a particular joke that kind of stood out to you more so than the other ones?
The one that stands out to me is when they're in heaven and Leela's like, it's too goody goody. Where's the sleaze?
Right.
And then it subverts expectations there. It's like, here's the sleaze. We're going to Mattress Island where you do mattress activities.
Like
First one to
like
Mattress
bouncing
Island
on
is
the
a
bed.
loser, or last one to Mattress Island is a loser or something. I don't know why for me. Oh, and also with the imagery of, sorry, just going back, just reminded me because of my joke, but we talk like heaven and everything with all that stuff. We also had the robot devil make an appearance in this one as well, which is also, robot hell
Oh
also
right.
has an analogy to that,
Oh
and the army of the damned attacking heaven and all this kind of stuff, right? So
yeah.
there's
Bender
definitely,
sacrificing his firstborn son and
which is
saying
like
no
one of my
backsies.
favorite jokes. Daddy, and then kicks him in, and it makes it that much more poignant because you realize in the future of the show as well is that Bender does get another son as well who he like misses and like wants to be with, but unfortunately has to leave him. So
Yeah. He
it's
actually
kind
is
of
a
one of
very
those
good
things.
father.
It's funny, man. Yeah. So I really like that one. I also love Dan Castellaneta as the robot devil. I mean, he's always just great every time he's on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Mitchell.
No, I'm agreeing with you. It's good to see the robot devil be. I mean, the whole heaven thing should have had a little more of that back and forth between Bender being down in hell talking to the devil and
Mhm.
Fry being in supposed heaven or something like that. That would have been a great little back and forth to play. And maybe they could even like do that like thing where it bounces back where their sentences are kind of finishing each other
Right.
thing
Yeah.
where Fry's like happy and Bender's jealous or something like that.
Yeah.
That would have been funny in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Oh,
there was so much jokes packed in this that probably wasn't enough time for that,
oh, yes.
or even maybe they didn't think about it.
Well, I'm so happy that Tristan's on for this one as well because he was there for. Though Andrew was there for it as well, but I think you were there for when we did the first What If Machine anthology of interest, right,
Yeah.
Tristan? With what if Fry never came to the future? Was that with you?
Is that the one I did? I've done one or two.
You did a couple. You did a couple. So I think that one
Yeah.
you were on for it, but it was basically like you have Al Gore, Guy Gass,
Gary Gygax, O'Hara.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
yeah,
was on that one.
Laura, Nichelle Nichols, who played Uhura
you.
in Star Trek, and then Stephen Hawking, right, and the chess robot. So I mentioned this during this because I thought this was hilarious. It's such a weird continuity thing, but they basically make because Stephen Hawking is the leader of the symposium at this point for it instead of like Al Gore or somebody else. And every time Stephen Hawking is on the show, he's basically like stealing people's ideas or he's like admitting to doing crimes with it. And he even was like I'm gonna make your fry hole, I'm gonna call it a Hawking hole, and there's nothing you can do about it. And in this one, he's like, and then I wrote this book, and then I just, as soon as I got the money and you paid for the book, it turns out to all be nonsense and like crap. So I just love that they keep making Stephen Hawking like, and it's actually him, which is even better. But in any case, yeah, that was also one of my favorite jokes. Like the whole science aspect of this is just one of the best parts of the whole thing. Is like the professor being able to be the professor, and we have Wormstrom obviously doing all this stuff. Who do you guys think in the whole movie? Who do you think has like the best like dynamic? Like, is it like Leela, Zap, and Amy like during their little time, or Zap and
Mm,
somebody, or is it Wormstrom and the professor, or is it Fry and like Evo
the
and
odd
whomever
couple,
he's
basically.
with? Yeah,
Who's the best odd couple?
Bender and Calculon when they're doing like their whole League of Robots thing. Like, who do you think has the best chemistry when it comes to this movie? Because there's so many like storylines going on, which is like hard to like piece together, but they all have
You are
heat.
right. Yeah, I forgot about the Bender and the Robot Devil Damn joke, because I would say that would be up there with my favorite jokes.
Yeah.
But coming up with that, like I'll pass it to Tristan first because I've been blabbering on most of this. But what was your favorite answer to this question?
Uh,
Yeah.
well, I did want to point, because if I were to make one criticism of this movie,
Hmm.
I would say it does tend to go down a couple rabbit holes that didn't really feel like they were necessary. Like the
Such
calculon
as
stalking thing in
Yep.
particular, it seems like it
It's
has
a
very
yeah.
relevance to the rest of the
Bender had to
movie.
become part of the Robot League somehow, and I think that was
Yeah.
their very loosey goosey way into it.
Yeah,
Exactly. It was a long walk to get to that particular drinking hole, right? Like it was
yes.
very, very hard. Like, yeah, it could have just literally have been Bender there with Calculon and be like, "Hey, Calculon, man, I really wish the League of Robots," and then Calculon literally could say, "Oh, the League of Robots doesn't exist," right? And then
Which did happen. They did do that.
I know, but they didn't need him to be a stalker in order to do
Yeah,
that.
they didn't need
Yeah.
that little
They could have,
storyline.
you know what? They could have cut it even because Bender got hurt when he hit it and he blasted his ass or whatever and landed in the hospital, right? Calculon could show up, do his little trick for him, and then at the going away ceremony, Calculon could be there for yet another thing because I think he was there for not for charity but for like his he
Court ordered.
court order, right? Because he ran over the Judge Whitey,
Yeah.
so he could have been there for yet another thing for somebody else, and then Bender could have said like, "Oh, I really wish the League of Robots were here," something like that, right? We didn't need. You're right. We didn't need to have that stalking thing. That's true.
I mean, it probably time wise, it probably could have been the exact same thing from both, like your way of like, oh, there is no such thing, to like clonking him on the head and like, hey, Bender, welcome to this.
Mhm.
It, I feel like that would have been about the same amount of like screen writing time, maybe a little less for your guys' idea,
Mhm.
and like they obviously could have tightened this movie up a little better, especially because like Tristan said, there's a lot going down. But he still never answered the question of what his favorite odd couple was.
Mhm.
No, I
So
didn't.
obviously it wasn't Calculon and Bender.
I
They
have
had
an
some really good
answer.
chemistry, though. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a roundabout answer, but the one nice parallel I noticed is that early on in the show we have the incidents of Fry moving out and Bender being upset because Fry's going to move in with Colleen,
Mhm.
and then near the end of the episode we get another discussion between Bender and Fry goes, "Oh, sorry, everyone's moving out to be with Yivo.
Mhm.
Sorry, we also have to move on." And same thing, he was upset that they are again moving out on him.
Yep.
So I think
With you.
Mhm.
that's going to be my answer, even though it's a relatively small part. Is that the parallel? Then I like the interaction of Bender being. I think it's an underrated theme in this that
Yeah.
we're seeing
I
from
think the
Bender's
answer is-
perspective, him
Mhm.
being sad that his friends are moving on from him.
Yeah, they didn't really they touched on
Yeah.
that at the beginning and at the end. They never really kind of made that
Well,
an overall Bender
yeah,
arc.
I was gonna say it kind of
Yeah.
parallels in the first one because
Mm.
that's exactly
I
what it
like that,
was
Tristan.
with good catch, because that's exactly what it was kind of in the first one where you have the parallel of what was it, like Fry always wanting to
With
be with
Leela.
Leela, and then it turns out that there is a Fry with Leela, and then it cannot happen without something happening, but she does end up with a Fry, so to speak, right? There's kind of that theme. Yeah, you're right. At the very beginning, we have Bender saying like, "Oh, I'm going to move in with Colleen and all this kind of stuff," and she's like polygamous and wants to be with all these people, and then Fry like, "Okay, I wanted to be with her, but I can't be with her because she's I don't get I don't get enough with her." To I'm going to be with this alien creature who is exactly the same thing, polygamous and with a lot of things, but oh, wouldn't you know it, Schlee is enough, right? Evo is enough for me. I'm moving out again, and yeah, takes away from Bender. And thus makes the whole thing, right? But this time he has the army of the damned to like go and get him, right? Mind you, without the electromatter, he wouldn't have been able to, but he still uses it for his thing. So yeah, that's fair. That's a good one. My favorite combination is long and around is Farnsworth and Wormstrom. Like
I agree with you on that one. Yeah,
yeah,
playtime is fun time when they're throwing the robots at the
not
portal,
like
little mini portal
friggin'
exploding.
when you take this ordinary laboratory koala and you throw it through, and then like, it passed passed through unharmed. Like it is top-notch dark humor that I adore, and it's so they don't even reference it again. It's just done. But I love how they have a barrel of friggin' a barrel that literally says laboratory animals. They open it up and they're all just like happy to come up. Like
Yeah, penguin,
knows how long they've
koala.
been in there, and then here's a little koala. Toss him through, and that's it. And then yeah, they're throwing the little robots or whatever, and so
I think my favorite thing about that joke is that it's literally like it has the same sound effect as a pop can. So like it was a pressurized barrel
right.
of these little baby animals. So I don't know why, but that little sound effect made it just so much funnier in my mind because it's just like they have to go to a factory, and then pressurize this barrel, put the animals pressurize and
seal them in.
Yeah, exactly. Are they like fresh for a long time or something, or is it just that laboratory animals are so commonly used that they have a canning factory for fresh, cute little animals?
Yep,
it's just the overthinking. It makes me laugh even harder.
Yeah, they take one of each for laboratory testing, put it into a barrel. A scientist buys it, they put it into storage, and when they need it, here's your laboratory koala. That, and then of course Pazuzu. Just having Pazuzu show up, like it's such a Deus Ex Machina for Pazuzu just to show up in this movie and then fly them to exactly where they need to go because there's like this huge thing about to happen. It's just so Futurama. So that would have been my combination for those.
Well, I'm trying to think of just another couple that would be good because like you kind of have I hate this word thruple with Leela, Zap, and Amy kind of thing, right? Which I do love that scene where they like let's go to this old cabin. Oh, back in the days of soup bootlegging, bathtub minestrone. It's just like that is such a like I love it because it's just a joke because it's just like there was a prohibition on soup.
Yeah,
like what class? Like then you have to get what classifies a soup from a stew to like a broth. Is broth considered soup? It's like the same kind of questions that those stupid questions you ask your dude friends. Like, what constitutes a sandwich? Is a hot dog a sandwich? Is a burger a sandwich?
It's definitely a sandwich.
Right. Yeah, you kind of get into that, like again, overthinking the joke, like with the can of fresh
then you raise a good question, right? Because in the Futurama universe, what would have led to the idea of a freaking soup prohibition? Like, and why soup per se? Like, why not any other type of food? Or unless there was another one and they just didn't talk about it. But like, why soup, right? I also like that it was a well and it was soup. Like they had mixed.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, that's
because you had like
funnier. I missed that. And
then she's like, here's this. So yeah, I don't. Hard to say.
Well, yeah, it was just like, was it? I have a little theory that maybe they were restricting on water or something like that. Like you couldn't have water, and soup uses a lot of water, so that's maybe how it happened. Was like, hey, you want to come over here? I got some soup for you. We got chicken noodle, chicken and rice,
but you can always minestrone. You could always have a different liquid with it. Like why? Overthinking it. Obviously,
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. That's what makes this joke kind of a little funnier.
Yeah,
in a way.
I also throw out the we get the Fan Roux, of course, with this, and we find and that is something that is carried over and in continuity with the rest of the show as well for Futurama, which is always a good thing in my books.
Yeah, the Comedy Central run, right when Amy kind of breaks up, or they kind of breaks up with Amy for a little bit.
Yeah, they quote unquote divorce, but not really because they were never legally married.
Bender,
right. But then I think they also mention Fan Roux, like they are each other's Fan Roux in the future as well, right? But then we also, I think this is where we learn the literal translation of being "Don't sleep with my commanding officer," right? So also yet another joke at the state of that. I mean. And to Tristan's thing, so Tristan mentioned like the loose threads for it. Are there any other things that we would have said could have been better? Because I think this one is probably third best written out of the four. And this is me.
Like problems in the episode.
Yeah, like if like just to give you an example, Tristan. So like in the previous one, although I love that movie, it's one of my favorites, if not the favorite I have of the films of Futurama. The one thing that I do get bothered by is that with the time travel, because I hold it to high such esteem, they they ruin one episode kind of, or at least it doesn't make
A
any sense
few.
anymore, and then they make another one kind of lose its emotional effect
Art.
on the audience. So the emotional effect one, I'm like, okay, at least it's still contained within the story and you can kind of get around that. That's fine. It doesn't change anything for Fry, and it doesn't change anything for any of the characters, which is whatever, just for the audience, but that's one thing or another. However, the other thing definitely changes the story and it changes reasons why things happened in the past, which means it's like it's kind of a weird time travel loop that they didn't actually close and they didn't actually fix. So yeah, I wanted to say, like, is there anything that in this movie that kind of doesn't ruin continuity, but it kind of changes your perspective of like what is it about the show that could have done anything? Yeah.
Future or past.
Yeah.
Mostly just the one I brought up, which I'm blanking on. Oh, the stalker storyline just felt like unnecessary. And like, where are we going now? Of course, they bring it back with the League of Robots, but yeah, like it probably could have gone there cleaner and faster.
Bender kind of already did stalk him at one point too.
I was going to say, yeah, the kind of that storyline is also a bit redundant because he also is a paparazzi person in the future.
That one's later.
Right?
Which was the one where he was his boiler?
Right. Where was that? Oh, that was the one with Uncle Zoid. That was
Harold Zoid.
What is that one? Lobstertainment. That's it. Yeah. With
so he stalked him technically 3 times. One as like his, I don't know. The first one was a stalker.
Boiler. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And this one he's also a stalker, which he already was a stalker beforehand. And then he has one where he's just a paparazzi, which is a different type of stalker.
Which is not technically on just Calculon though. He starts with Calculon. And then
I guess that's true. It's not specifically him.
But you're right. They kind of like Bender's constantly in Calculon's either doesn't remember him because he's too full of himself, which we could probably chalk it up to that, or just lazy writing, which, to be fair, is probably the truth of it. But fair enough. How about you, Mitchell? Is there anything in the movie then? Because you have watched it multiple times, you have watched the series multiple times.
It's my favorite, funniest one.
Yeah.
Nah, it's just one of those things where it's just like, well, obviously one that ruins the continuity, which you touched on very briefly, was Bender's first son. Kind of was just a joke, which I think we've all established and agreed that this movie just has jokes in it for whatever reason. There's not much thinking put into it. It's like, we need more running time.
They never make reference to Evo ever again.
Also that, because how many universes or parallel universes have they been to? Even with the Fonz box. Parabox thing. So not Fonz box.
There was tons. I mean, there were tons of those, and we didn't even see all of them.
No. I don't know. Like I don't really have anything that other than just like they don't mention these things. Is this kind of like one of the things that you and I love about Futurama is their continuity. They've kind of have a nice tight continuity. But as time goes on, there's more and more episodes, and maybe different writers who don't pay attention, who think they're better or are new or whatever, or aren't part of the old guard. They kind of stretch it out every time and make things either worse or forgetful. Or like as we established, Bender was already a stalker twice.
Right,
like once before the movie and once after the movie. So
and never made mention of that beforehand, right? Like, or in this film, he never says like, "Hey, haven't I seen you before?" No, that's right. I will say then the only thing that seems to be with continuity with it is Kif and Amy's relationship becoming Fan Fan Roo. Because that does get carried over into the future. I don't think there was anything else then that we could arguably say was from this movie. So you could make the jump.
A claim.
Yeah, you could make it that, okay, so Amy and Kif or Smizmar, and then maybe over time they became Fan Fan Roo, but we've never really heard that term. But other than that, this whole movie you could basically skip. So would you agree with that, Tristan, or do you think it would be, are we missing something?
So like you were saying, like if you took it out it wouldn't matter to the continuity, is that what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, you can say that about a lot of the episodes. Futurama just kind of are
true. You're right, but you can't do that with the first one, the first movie. You can't.
No.
it's embedded into the canon now. So yeah, would you agree with that, Tristan? Then, or is there
Yeah, I'd
something
agree with
missing
that.
from the movie?
Other
Yeah,
than Fonfondru,
yeah,
I think is brought up. I think
yeah. Oh,
in
and
other
I'll throw in
episodes.
Pazuzu as well, because I think another episode with Pazuzu when he shows up and he's like, "You were out of wishes," so it's like, where was
Oh,
your
okay.
second wish? Other than that,
Yeah,
but
but pretty light in term, which
yeah,
is surprising for like a one of four movies
mhm,
in the entire catalog.
yeah, that's very true. And that it basically was only ever connected to the first movie as well, because at the very end that hole opens up and leads into this
Mm.
one, but this one doesn't lead into anything else in the future either. So you literally could just be like, oh, what was that from the first movie? And then the next movie you skip it, and then the third one, oh, right. But yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know.
Hmm.
Weird situation for it. But okay, well, in that case, why don't we move on to one of my favorite aspects of doing this with all you guys would be our MVP. And what I've added on, because Mitchell had made mention of this beforehand, we do like a second or
Honorable
like a
mention.
runner up. So you
An
have your
honorable mention.
MVP, an honorable mention, MVP, and your honorable mention, your runner up for the movie as a whole, the whole thing. So guest of honor, why don't you go ahead? What would you say is your? We'll do all of our MVPs first, and we'll do all of our runner-ups next. So go ahead, Tristan. What would you say is your MVP?
Uh, I think it's probably not a common choice, but for the same reason that I mentioned earlier about there being a kind of interesting little subplot of Bender losing friends,
Mm-hmm.
friends moving on from him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say Bender because of both that interesting little subplot as well as that he breaks the whole thing down at the end and
Sure.
saves them, even though they don't want to be saved.
Right, and he does have the. Again, I'm taking from Mitchell for it because Mitchell probably doesn't remember what he said last time, but Mitchell did bring up as well. Bender makes the point about love and how love is
Yeah.
necessary
Yeah.
with
At
all
the
the
end there,
bad things
that
that
wasn't
come with it,
love.
right?
Yes,
Love
yeah.
is love is
His
jealousy.
statement is the sort of theme
crutch.
of the underlying theme
Well,
of the episode.
Mhm.
Movie.
I love it because
To
it
some
kind of
degree.
points to Evo because he's like, yeah, you don't contact, you cannot contact other people or you will. Yeah, it's just like that kind of thing. That's what Bender was like though, but Bender still allowed Fry to leave, sort of.
Kind of. He did
Yeah,
bring him back.
you
I guess
could,
he's
yeah,
saving him from himself, but like a worse version of what Bender is because Bender's so clingy. Yeah, you could argue this movie is very much like it's very Fry adjacent. Everything around it is like related to Fry in some way. His
yeah,
relationship with Bender is connected with Evo. Evo is connected with Colleen. Colleen is connected with all his failed relationships, like even Leela and everything. Right? You could say it was something like this. So okay, fair enough. So Bender would be your MVP then.
Yeah, Bender.
Okay. How about you, Mitchell? Your MVP?
You know what? I knew that you were going to ask this. I was thinking about it before we started this conversation
Good.
or this podcast, and I was trying to think of myself what it was, and I had a good answer, but I don't remember what it was now because I think it was going between Fry and Bender. But I'm like, Fry wasn't really like in this that much. Like, yeah, it kind of was about him,
Should I
but I
invoke
think
my
I like
other
Bender
rule from
more.
before? You're not allowed to choose from those two again. You keep doing that. Your
No,
last one was
no,
Fry. Mine,
yeah.
though, I let it go because mine was Lars. But still,
No, I'm sticking with Bender. I'm going with
you're
I
gonna go
like
Bender as well.
Tristan's
Okay,
thing. Yeah,
fair enough. Fair
because
enough. Yep.
Bender had some great stuff in this, and drink the flagon, drink the flagon. I do like that little stupid drinking game.
Are they all going to be drinking
Um,
contests? Huh, we hadn't thought about that, but I guess so. Yes. So yeah.
yeah, him going to the robot, and then him like being mad at Fry with the letter and throwing it, and then killing X1, going
Mhm.
and that was my favorite trash can because he also killed his trash can, and he
Right.
still hates X1 from
Right.
his dream.
Oh, right.
And
That's
the
right,
whole
yeah.
like we're here to save humanity and get evil out of our universe. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, no problem. Here we're leaving right now. Here's the keys to the end of the lock up with the end of the world. Take me
Right.
with you. Like
Sorry, Bender.
it's
Robots
really
don't go to
good.
heaven. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm
This is
sticking with Bender on this
a
one.
Yeah. Okay. Enough. And you know what? You both bring up good points for it. I would agree with you. I would say mine is I'm going to go Professor, and the reason I'm going to go Professor is because without the Professor, you don't really have all the craziness that happens. Right? He's the one that kind of is like he's the one that sends out Bender rather, to go and do the whole thing. Oh, we didn't really talk about the whole like battle to the death thing and the death roll thing. Like that was one of my favorite jokes. Is literally like, well, you guys, I guess we've won the ability to go and study the anomaly. And then Zoidberg's like, but I thought I was fighting for my freedom. Like that's another really good joke.
No.
Which we could also attest to that being a future episode, although they didn't think about it at the time, but because he's like locked in with the professor, right? So
Oh yeah, with the Yeti syndrome or whatever it
Yeti
was
thing,
called.
right? So you can throw that in there as like a continuity thing if you really, really wanted to. But any case, yeah, I'd go Professor. I think he and Wernstrom are the funniest. I think the funniest jokes I get from this movie are from him and from the people that surround him during those times. Yeah, even
I need a screwdriver to fine tune the smelloscope. Oh, you need one?
shake
Luckily, I was just shake with one.
So that's great. And let's see, I'll just do so. My runner-up, I think you guys both made really good cases.
Honorable mention,
I'm
yeah.
going to go, honorable mention. I'm going to go Bender. I'll go Bender for my honorable mention for that. So he's going to be connected to all of us. So mine is Professor and Bender. How about you, Tristan? What is your honorable mention?
Leela, because
Yeah.
while her rebellion against Evo ultimately failed, she's the only one who basically put up a fight of the living beings.
Yeah.
And of course I love her joke about where's the sleaze, but like she put up a good fight. She's the only living being to have put up a good fight, even if she ultimately failed.
I was gonna say, doesn't she also like give in at the end, and then it gets screwed over with the pirate show?
Yes, she failed. She's the only living being to not have had sex with Evo, according to the wiki. But
she had no fun this entire movie. She had nothing. No relationships, nothing. She had no, like, she was alone at the wedding or at the Fon roof ceremony. She watched as Amy and Zap like did it. She never got hooked up with Evo, and then she was fighting Evo all the way up until Bender attacked them. So she never got anything.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So for putting in the effort, she's my runner-up.
Awesome. All right, Mitchell, your runner-up then.
I completely agree with Tristan. Yeah, I was going to say Leela as my honorable mention. Like I'm trying to think because like I liked Fry, like I said before, but like he just didn't really feel like he was part of the episode in a way. Like he felt like the first season of the Hulu verse where he was just there.
Yeah, he's kind of MacGuffin thing. He's kind of like oh
yeah,
like I'm dating this person.
Like
I don't want to be here anymore. And yeah.
Like he was a catalyst. He wasn't the arc. He was a catalyst to kind of get things going, but he wasn't the arc.
He didn't drive the plot forward, right? Yeah, not very.
Yes,
a little bit at the very beginning he did, and then other characters took over, right? Yeah.
Like I always loved Zoidberg, so I'd say I want to put him because he had my favorite jokes. But just again, he wasn't really kind of like he wasn't in the story to help it flow. He was just there to Zoidberg, and then he was out, kind of thing, right? So I agree with Tristan's Leela reasons. It's just that she was kind of the only one that wasn't assimilated to Evo, and I would love for there to be a future episode, which they won't do because the new writers don't do continuity with the older stuff. I don't know, whatever reason, but like the whole entire universe, but Leela is somehow infected with this. Maybe not like death thing, but something gross, gross or something like that. Evo. Yeah, like an STI or something like that.
Like a space STI from Evo. They have to go back to Evo.
Yeah, a dimension.
He does it. That's a joke too. He's like, oh, by the way, you should get yourselves checked.
Yeah, and they like, I never did. So
that's funny. Yeah,
that would be funny. And like, of course, Futurama likes to do like those lesson things and stuff like that, right? They can do this is why you need to wrap it before you tap it, and they can do those stupid things and stuff like that, like box it up or something like that.
For sure.
I don't know, but I 100% agree with Tristan that first it's Bender, then it's Leela,
fair enough,
and then
Fry.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much again, Tristan, for joining. It was wonderful to have you here talk with us about the film, and I'm glad that you out of all of them you did remember this one the most. So yeah, I hope that you can watch the other ones again as well soon.
Yeah, they're really good, man. Like this is probably my least favorite written one, but like it's the funniest one. Sure. So they're all very good.
I'll watch them soon.
Wonderful.
When and if you have time.
Yes.
We can make it a watch party.
I've got about 15 square free minutes a day free.
Exactly.
Well, perfect. That's the episode links for when you cut them up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Right.
suppose.
Well, yeah, no, thanks again. And it was wonderful having you as always. And we'll get you again soon for when we do the Comedy Central run. All right. So be sure to
Sounds
watch
good.
those and we'll get you into that. And of course, Mitchell, thanks again for joining me and for everyone who listened in. And yeah, please like, share, and subscribe for all things Futurama for the future. And we will talk again soon for when we talk about Bender's Game, the third one. All right, man. Have a good one. Take it easy.
Toodaloo.
See you guys.
Toodaloo.